Today on What's on Wealth. So, Jeremy, which spouse should pay attention to the survivorship feature on their pension?
Let's talk about some of the cons, because pensions are great, but they do have some negatives to them.
One of the investments inside that pension fund is a public golf course. Welcome back to What's on Wealth. I'm Matt Dean, and I'm joined today by our associate advisor who's known for his golden voice, Jeremy Zickafoose.
Yes, hi Matt, glad to be back. Today we're talking about pensions, right?
That's right.
All right, so what is a pension?
I think of any pension, or an annuity even, as just money over time.
So Social Security, teachers' pensions.
That's right.
Actually, yeah, they're all annuities, and actually the teacher's pension used to be called a teacher's annuity.
In fact, pensions used to be really, really common. It was the primary retirement tool for a lot of people. Back in the day, retirement used to be the responsibility of the employer. They would set aside money for you so that when you're no longer working, you can still support yourself financially. And as we both know, that's changed quite a bit over time. But teachers have teachers' pensions. Any public servants typically have pensions. If you work for the federal government, that's another example.
The railroads, I know I had someone actually in yesterday, and gosh, he's been retired for almost 30 years.
Oh my gosh.
And he's never dipped into his retirement savings because his railroad pension for himself and the spousal that his wife gets as well covers all of their living expenses.
Oh my gosh.
So pensions can be pretty darn great.
And one of the reasons why pensions aren't offered anymore, they're less common to see nowadays, is because pensions are really, really expensive. Americans are living a lot longer nowadays. And so if you're planning on being retired for 25, 30 years and you're getting a pension of, let's say, $3,000 a month, that can be really, really expensive. That could be $1 million lump sum that you're required to save for those 30 years of retirement. So a lot of companies said, no, we're not going to hold the bag for this one. It's you got to be the one to do it. You take responsibility for your financial future. So intro the 401k in the 1970s, and don't we all have 401ks nowadays? It's just common lingo.
Let's talk about, for the people that do have pensions, let's talk about some of the pros and cons. Let's start here with the pros. My opinion, I think the first big pro is that is regular, consistent income that's easy to plan for in retirement.
It's really, really easy to plan for because even if your pension has a cost of living adjustment, a little bump over time for inflation, that's really, really easy to plan for. Now, obviously, we don't want to see really, really high inflation rates because one risk is that the pension may not be able to keep up with that inflation over time. Another advantage of pensions, usually pensions last for life. Now, there's a lot of options that you can use to claim these pensions. It can be 10 years certain, 15 years certain, or something along those lines. But it's there your entire life.
Yeah, and I think another great one is that spouses can get those pensions. Like I just mentioned, that railroad worker, she's actually able to claim off his benefit now.
Survivorship.
Yeah, survivorship. But most of the time when we talk about survivorship, that's when one spouse with the pension passes away, the other spouse is able to then keep it. And depending on what you choose and the plan that you have, sometimes that's only 50%, or they get to keep 100% of it. And so it allows it to be a legacy that goes with the family, even if the person who qualified for it and got it passes away.
So, Jeremy, which spouse should pay attention to the survivorship feature on their pension? Husband or wife?
I mean, I would argue both. I mean, do you think it's necessarily one or the other?
I think one should pay attention more than the other, and I'm going to say husband for this one.
Okay,
because it's expected in most cases that our wives will outlive us, and wouldn't that be good news for them? Oh my gosh, I finally got rid of Jeremy. That's what Florence would say.
Yes, yeah, I guess that does make sense. Yeah.
All right, you already heard it from Jeremy. Husbands, sleep with one eye open if you've got a pension.
Yeah, make sure, because if she can keep that without you, I mean, I don't know. Are there any other good pros to having a pension versus those tradition or these new, 401k type investments?
Well, if you believe that you can invest the lump sum portion of your pension better than the financial institution, the custodian that's helping you with your pension, in some cases, you can roll over a big amount of money. It's going to be pre-tax into an IRA or a 401k that's also tax deferred. And that will give you more control over one, investment decisions, but two, whether you need to take a heavier draw from that lump sum of money than your pension would otherwise give you. Let's say your pension's $3,000 a month, like this earlier example, but you need 4 or 5 to make up the difference in your expenses versus your income. Taking the lump sum can help you speed up and have that heavier draw for your retirement income needs.
Let's talk about some of the cons, because pensions are great, but they do have some negatives to them. And the first big one that hits me is that, well, one of the things we focus on here at WealthCare is trying to get to the 0% tax bracket in retirement, because if you don't get the taxes right, none of it else matters. And with a pension, having consistent taxable income, it's pretty difficult to get you to that 0% tax bracket. And for some people, it's impossible.
A handful of clients that I've met with that have pensions, and I've had to break the tough news to them, because you're going to have this around for the foreseeable future. I don't know if I can get you to the 0% tax bracket, but usually I follow it up with, this is kind of nice. What I'd like to do is help you stay in maybe the 10 or the 12% tax bracket, if at all possible. So you're exactly right.
When you have that taxable income that's forced every year, every month, it can cause other negative problems. It can cause you to pay taxes on your Social Security benefit.
That's right.
So I know now teachers, which is really great, teachers are able to get their full pension and their full Social Security benefit.
Hallelujah.
Which is great. My mom's taking advantage of that, so she really likes that.
Shout out, Tina.
Yeah, but you want to make sure that, will that cause issues with my Social Security? Because now you may be losing some of that to taxation, having to give it right back to the government. So when you go and you're looking, maybe with your financial advisor or your spouse or whoever it is that you're kind of figuring out what to do next, when you pick either take the lump sum or not for your pension, maybe it might make sense to take the lump sum so you have a smaller monthly pension, so that then that smaller amount maybe doesn't trigger taxation on your Social Security benefit.
As far as figuring out whether to take the lump sum option or maybe a no lump sum with a higher monthly benefit for somebody's pension, is there one correct answer to figure that out?
A good chunk of the time, I typically see that taking the lump sum tends to be a little bit more advantageous for people, but I've seen it work the other way, where for some people, if they just didn't save much outside of retirement, when you run the numbers, it actually made sense for them to keep that consistent income. Even though it's going to cause some taxes and things throughout the years, everyone's situation is different. There's no one size fits all with this.
Yeah, and in some cases, the monthly payout with the no lump sum option can pay out more handsomely than it would be able to if you invested it in the stock market in some cases.
Correct, and so that's why it's helpful to just do the math there. One of the cons with them as well is what happens if taxes go up.
Yeah, you're married to that taxable income.
Yeah, because, it's right now you said, it'd be nice if we keep you in the 10 or 12% tax bracket. What happens if that's no longer the 10 or 12% bracket?
We've been saying this for years now.
Could be a problem.
We've been hammering home taxes as it pertains to pensions, but one hidden tax that a lot of people kind of slips their minds or they don't consider is IRMA. Ugly Aunt Irma for Medicare. Suppose you have a pension and Social Security, maybe another source of income. Maybe your spouse also has a pension. You're both teachers or public servants. You could see a day where that taxable income pushes you so high that you will begin to pay penalties on your Medicare Part B premiums, your Part D premiums. And you're kind of stuck there until some legislative change happens to your tax situation.
Yeah. And so, so you end up with less Social Security check and a higher Medicare bill. That's not great.
No.
I haven't seen it happen too much recently, but pension plans, are they guaranteed?
No.
No.
Not necessarily.
There's been instances where people have paid into pensions and maybe the company went under, or they're not able to pay out the way that they had told you they were going to for all those years. And gosh, what's even scarier is that's kind of happening with the biggest pension that we all have been putting into.
Yeah. And
Social
Jeremy, you
Security.
and I have heard stories of pension funds being invested poorly. An investment goes bad.
Yeah.
They're only able to pay out 75% of the benefits that they once promised. And whether it's union employees or other public servants, they are at a crossroads.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about this? I don't know if this is a problem we can fix. So someone takes a haircut, if the investment opportunity goes bad. Here's a really interesting example of how a pension fund can be invested. Jeremy, we were talking before we started recording here. You're not much of a golf player.
Nope, not at all.
Okay. I do like playing golf from time to time, maybe twice a year at this rate. Anyways, the state of Alabama, their teachers' pension fund, one of the investments inside that pension fund is a public golf course. Actually, it's a series of public golf courses. You can look this up. The Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail in the state of Alabama. One of those courses is just outside Auburn in Opelika. Very, very fun course. Played it this past summer. Loved it. Investing in public golf courses, you can imagine that requires a big upfront investment. If I remember correctly, it was something like maybe a couple $100 million.
Ooh.
But when you have 9 or 10 golf courses that are operating basically daily, what you see on a good day with all these golf courses, they generate $1 million a day in revenue.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you think about how a pension can be invested, it can also be invested in ways that you don't have access to, like golf courses.
And the other thing with, Social Security, gosh, if you're ever worried about maybe a company going under, it might be a good idea to take the lump sum while it's still there. And I don't know about you, but gosh, if it were up to me, I'd much rather take my lump sum from Social Security, the amount I've been paying, and wait on hoping them paying me out later, because I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know if I should even bank on Social Security being around by the time I'm ready to retire.
I'm not going to even plan on it.
The first thing that I would do if I had a magic pen and whatever I wrote down could be signed into legislation, I would make the minimum claim age for Social Security a fraction of life expectancy, so that as life expectancy increases over time, so does the minimum claim age automatically. Because one problem that we've been seeing with Social Security is people are living a lot longer than age 65, but that wasn't the case 100 years ago.
Correct.
That's the first problem that I would fix. The second problem that I would fix is the revenue source that funds Social Security. Number one, I would make it optional. So if you do not pay into Social Security, you won't receive benefits in the future. The first problem that could fix is, one, guys like you and I, maybe we think we have a better plan for our financial situation in retirement, and we don't want to take the government's plan. That would be pretty nice. The other consideration is there are people that migrate to the United States that claim government subsidized benefits that didn't pay into the system. So if you haven't been paying in for a minimum number of years, you do not get benefits.
And you would think it should be that way because that's how it works for even us citizens. I can't claim my Social Security benefit until I've paid in my 40 credits worth.
That's right.
So why shouldn't it be the same for everyone else? Interesting.
Yep. Interesting thought indeed. The other thing that I would fix is Social Security is funded by payroll taxes, FICA, Medicare, Social Security.
Yeah.
If you could write the legislation so that the rare surplus of our federal budget, some of that could be devoted to the Social Security fund. Hey, that may not be such a bad idea. I think a better use of it might be paying off some of this national debt that we have. Thirdly, Social Security's trust fund, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, you might know more about this than I do, but it is not really invested. Maybe all of that cash in the Social Security trust fund holds treasuries, and that's about it.
I believe that's the case.
Okay. Social Security is the closest thing that we have to a sovereign wealth fund in the United States. So why not make stock market investments to help boost the cash in the economy?
Well, especially when we have great and amazing stock pickers like Nancy Pelosi right there in government who have made tremendous rates of return. I mean, imagine if she had been managing the Social Security portfolio like she's been managing her own for all these years, and we'd be sitting pretty, and they'd probably all give everyone a raise on Social Security larger than the cost of living adjustment, I would assume.
Right.
So
the other thing that I would consider is, let's say you and your spouse are eligible to claim retirement benefits from Social Security. 5 years deep, your spouse passes away. They've paid in all of these years. You've been paying in on your own record, but the government just keeps those benefits for some reason. That seems like an unfair deal, especially a widow or widower who needs that income to supplement their retirement needs.
I definitely agree with you on it should be optional. I mean, if you really didn't want to be participating into that program, why should we be forced to do it? I feel like, as adults, if we are working and figuring out what we want to do with our own money, I should be able to choose whether that gets taken from my paycheck or not.
Exactly right.
I mean, it's no different than anything else of medical insurance or something like that. It's not like they're forcing me to buy something specific. I get to go out into the marketplace or my workplace and choose what plan makes most sense for me.
Or if you are going to participate, you should be able to choose to what degree you're participating.
Correct.
Maybe you want to withhold 5% of your gross income every year to your Social Security account.
Yeah.
Have it so that the government is tracking how much you paid in and how much you're due whenever you retire, instead of pooling all of our money together. And
And it could work the other way as well, as if it was totally flexible to where if you don't like it at all, you don't have to contribute. But if you really like it, some people like the idea a lot of having that Social Security, making that a big check. So maybe some people might say, well, gosh, I'd like to put more in so that, because if there's some people that, gosh, if that money hits my bank account, I'm going to spend it.
Oh, yeah.
So it'd be so much better if the government can just make sure that comes out of my paycheck and that never hits my bank account, then I don't have to worry about saving for retirement. I'm putting, a good large chunk over there, and then when the time comes, they're going to give it back to me plus interest, hopefully. Some people might actually prefer to have more. Who knows?
Yeah. Jeremy, if you're not angry already, the other thing that makes me upset about the Social Security situation is this. Over time, the Social Security Trust Fund has been raided by other government agencies who need capital. So part of the legislation needs to be, if you're going to be borrowing from the Social Security Trust Fund, it must be structured as a loan, which if not paid back, that government agency defaults on the loan and everybody is made whole.
Something, because if we're putting all our money into a pool, and then that pool isn't sacred or used for our funds only.
Pool.
You know what I mean? Whatever. But, it can't be taken from other places without being made whole. Or at least, goodness, yeah. It's no different than you or me. If I'm going to go borrow money from someone, well, then shouldn't Social Security be charging a nice interest on that loan in the first place? So then it helps all of us out anyway, because we all need it.
God forbid the government be a profitable endeavor.
That would be, if only we ran the country like a business, maybe that would actually be helpful. We just print money, spend money we don't have, and take loans out for things that we don't need. Perfect.
All right, Jeremy, next little tangent for you. Social Security benefits and pension benefits are taxable. They're not always taxable by the state that you live in, but did you know that some pensions can be structured to pay out tax-free income?
Tax-free income. Okay, see, that's one of the things that I don't like about pensions is that they force me to have to pay taxes.
That's
and I'm
right.
subject to the possible raising of taxes in the future. How do you make it tax-free?
Most retirees, as long as they have some sort of retirement savings, have the ability to create their own private pension. So, suppose a retiree has some pre-tax savings in their IRA or their 401k. They could, if it was a prudent financial decision, convert some of their savings to a tax-free Roth IRA, and then approach an insurance company or an annuity company and say, here is a lump sum of tax-free money. Now, what I would like is that tax-free money given to me in chunks over time. That's the definition of an annuity or a pension. And so you'll be receiving a pension that you built with the help of an insurance company. It's tax-free, and you can also give instructions that say, I want this to last 10 years or 5 years or my lifetime, and they'll just do it.
Well, that wraps up our conversation on pensions today. If you have a pension and you don't know what to do, take the lump sum or take the monthly benefit, and you need help running the numbers, figuring out what makes most sense for you and your retirement, feel free to give us a call at 417-882-1726, and one of our advisors would be more than happy to help you. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time on What's on Wealth. My wires.
Oh no!
Ugh, why do my wires look weird on the camera?
My computer just closed out all my tabs.
No! Batman.
Rachel!